Hello!
Oh, God. Jesus.
So never listening to that.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay,
Okay. To recap.
To recap, we've bookended our history with our two periods. The start of our history, which is when the Undying One is defeated. We've decided this is a dark period, even though the realm is picking up the pieces after coming close to annihilation. There's a lot of strife and conflict still. And then our modern day history bookend is that we have the Kingdom of Tyre. It's prosperous and powerful, and overall it's a light period.
But about to be enveloped by a dark one.
Yes,
Possibly.
That's why
we've
I've
chosen
decided to have it live.
Okay.
We've chosen our palette, and we've explicitly banned undead creatures, time travel, and guns. And
So those are things that are not going to appear in this world.
Ever.
Sorry, time travel steampunk fans. We've explicitly asked that there be undead lore, that there be religious strife, and that there be recreational drugs included in the history of this
Can
time.
there be trucks?
So the next.
I think it would be fun
No, I agree. I think it's cool.
to have something in the history about drugs. I don't know. Maybe a weird prohibition thing.
So the next step is now there's no more cooperation between us.
Oh no!
You all have to
Only
make your.
antagonistic.
You all have to make your. So obviously it's cooperative. We're making the history together, but I'm not allowed to make suggestions to you, Robbie, or say like, "Oh, I think you should do this," or "This would be a really good idea."
This is a good idea.
So we all get to make
It's a really shit idea.
either one period or one event within the period.
Remind me, event period.
Again, it goes and scene.
Scene.
So again, you guys can put it in any order. If you create a period, all you do is you decide when it is. So you put it in which order along the period. You describe the period to us, so what happens in this period, and then you assign a tone. Is it light or dark? And then it's sort of similar for events. You then decide which period the event happens in. So the event is like a battle or a specific king being crowned or something like that. You describe what happens in the event, and again you say whether the event is light or dark. And if there's more than one event under a period, you decide where does it fall in amongst all these events.
Can you have scenes without events and events without periods?
No. So all scenes have to fall within an event, and all events have to fall within a period. So
if someone decides to create an event now,
it
Do it
has
has
to
to
fall
slot-
under one of these two
Okay.
periods.
in those two, or if someone already has another period
Or if
done?
someone's already has
Okay,
another
cool.
period, right?
Okay.
So we start by just doing one each. As the game progresses, we'll have more opportunities to create new periods, new events, new scenes. At this stage, you can only create periods and events, no scenes.
Okay.
So if you have a period, you can write it on the big envelope. If you have an event, you can write it on the small envelope.
And we take this in turns.
Not in turns.
Well, no,
Anyone
I'm-
can go at any stage. You only do one.
Oh, okay.
One period or one event.
You get to have a big pen too.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so I may have cheated slightly because Damien has given me homework in advance. For this. And,
So you thought about this.
Well, yeah. So I was given an assignment, which is one of the joys of
So after this,
living.
we're still don't worry about that because we're still going to play a round after this,
Okay.
in which I would suggest you hold your assignment for then.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay.
So okay, maybe I should elaborate a bit more on how the game works. So now we all create one period and one event. We put it in. Then that's the setup over. Once we've finished setup, we go by rounds. And how rounds work is we choose a focus. And a focus is like a theme. So the theme could be like a particular period. I'm saying, so our focus is this period, or the focus could be like religion. So I want to focus on this religion. When we've chosen a focus, so I'll give you some spoilers, the focus is going to be on orcs this evening, right? So that's why I roped Thomas in, is that we'll start this evening focusing on orcs. What that means is we then all get an opportunity to create one period or one event or one scene, but it has to fit the focus, right? But it can be anywhere, right?
Okay, but is the focus now?
Now
or-
it's not the focus. Now
Okay,
it's just
cool.
like general setup. You can write whatever you want.
Cool stuff you think would go in this time.
Yeah. Can you pass me a big envelope, please?
How, which spelling of grey do we use?
The British, obviously.
G-O-E-Y.
So is the British EY?
EY, yeah.
Okay, cool.
But you can spell it however you want.
No, you can't.
My darling. It's fine.
So remember, if you're creating
If
you're creating a
Yes.
period, you should say. So if you should make a period,
Damon's like, my world.
if you're creating a period, that's fine. But now you should give us a bit of a description of it, right?
Okay.
So
I'm trying to think for a description, but I'm gonna make a circle first.
and then you choose whether it's a light or a dark, and we can ask him questions for more clarification about the period. But so I'll give you an example, and this is maybe
Okay.
relevant to you. So on the player's turn, she says, "I'm making a new period after the peace of Ulrichs and before the coming of the Western kings. It's a time of great terror, with evil wraith spirits possessing and corrupting the lords of the realms. From the king on down, there's oppression and terrible deeds, and the people live in terror of their once noble lords. Gleaming courts of chivalry become places of nightmare." So obviously it's dark. So she calls it the Lords of Shadows, and the nobles are possessed.
Okay.
And she writes dark.
So I've got an idea, but do you want to go with yours first?
You can go first. I'm still thinking.
If you put a period, you put it in, and you put it in wherever you want.
Well, no, I just want to I just want some feedback.
No, you're not allowed to.
Oh damn.
Each
Okay.
person
Well,
makes it
feedback.
for themselves.
Okay. In which case, then some help with some wording.
Okay.
Before I commit it to paper. So, after the Undying One is defeated, a Doomsday cult emerges.
Ooh, I like it.
In worshipping, it's like saying, like, clearly the Undying One, it's there in the name, guys. Clearly the Undying One is not dead and threatens to take over the entire continent until they are defeated. ... So I don't know what the ... is.
So you have to. I guess you have to. You should bookend what happens, right? So if you want to just have the period of the Doomsday cult rises and maintains power in the kingdom, right? And
Okay.
in that period is you're defining that as the period wherein the Doomsday cult were in power. Someone else can make a period later on about what
Have
happens
you already
after.
made like city names?
No, that's all up to you.
More vegetables.
So what you can do, Thomas, also is you can say the Doomsday cult now had the reign of the Doomsday cult worshipping the Undying One, right? You can create that as a period,
Okay.
and it implies that
the
sometimes
beginning of the
prior
name.
in history they rose to power, right?
Yeah,
So like you can make inferences about what you can require things to have happened in the
Yeah.
past, even if they aren't explicitly put down yet, right? Pass me a blue envelope also, please. I'm not sure which one I want to do yet. Once you've got your period,
Yeah.
do you want to describe it to us?
I'm still trying to think of like things that I could say. Oh, why this is great.
So again, you don't need to be too specific, right? Because you can
Okay.
just give us a broad overview of the period, and then we
Yes.
define events.
Maybe we should make this long rather than
Yes.
wide.
Ah, yes, I see.
Ah!
Microphones.
Oh, you're travelling around the room, dear listener. Do we want to take this opportunity to serve ourselves some cake? Or we...
While we're choosing, yeah, sure.
Okay, wait.
Do you want to explain first your periods to us, Thomas?
Okay, so in the wake of the defeat of the Undying One, a cult arises venerating the Undying One, because clearly she's not dead, and reigns for an unspecified period of time, I guess. Yeah, which I guess would make sense in the death of Arwenwall and the Druids and stuff, providing like a bit of a power vacuum.
So how do we view this cult reigning? Is it just that they're like a religion that they've gained popular thing, or are they more like a empire that's taken over?
I don't think so. The way that I think about it is like, did you play Endless Legend?
A little bit.
Okay. So there's a cult in there, and like the way that I always thought of them is like there was a power vacuum in a time of like great unrest, and they sort of like stepped in, but as time went on, they became gradually weaker and weaker when it became clear that the Undying One wasn't coming back. So it's a brief reign as far as I'm concerned, and then they're eventually like toppled by
Something.
yes. But there is a period in which cultists of the Undying One, like, sort of like, she will return, she will be cruel when she discovers the blasphemies that you have done. That's it.
Okay.
But it's a bad time because they're bad dudes.
Yes, they don't rule nicely.
Yeah, they're the kind of like, I feel like whereas the Undying One was like, okay, well, you knew you were going to be torn apart by zombies, but like, yeah, you could predict that, right? Whereas this is just like nasty people doing nasty things
Nasty
because
things.
they think it'll make her happy.
Yeah, and because they can.
Yes.
All right.
This is an easily defined period here, Bill. Are you writing an essay?
No, wait. Add the sea. I'm just gonna say sea because seaside city of.
So Thomas, I'm adding an event into your reign of the cult of the Undying One. I'm calling it the Selvig Druidic Massacre. This is an event where a bunch of druids believed to be responsible for the prevention of, or the opponents of the Undying One are rounded up and slaughtered en masse in a particular druidic grove or enclave. They are, by some cultists, they are all rounded up and brutally and mercilessly all slaughtered. This
By
is, of course,
fanatics.
a dark era. By, I guess, cultists. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Phil, what have you got?
I've got the reign of Earl Grey.
That's a fucking botanical reference. Okay, his wife, Bergamot.
And their child, and their child Ceylon. That is canon now.
No backseas.
It is a time of great economic prosperity for the kingdom of Tyre, and there's 3 kingdoms. I've decided in my head. It's Tiger, Wheel, and Tyre.
At this point,
No, at that point, like there's 3 kingdoms.
so you only get to choose your period at the moment.
Okay. No, in my head, I was like, please just do that for me.
This is headcanon. Headcanon.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so time of great economic prosperity led to the in the kingdom of Tyre, and led to the establishment of a trade route between the mountain city of Dwarf Rock City and the seaside city of Salt Lake.
And both the
Salt
Dwarf
Lake.
Rock City and Salt Lake are within the Kingdom of Tyre.
Yes,
Salt Lake or Salt Lick?
Salt Lake.
Have we got there that this is within Kingdom of Tyre somewhere? Can you just write like within Tyre, just so for
Within Tyre.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I have one.
Because I'd like to imagine that Tyre is like, it's kind of like this weird peninsula almost. It's like almost like Italy if it was really, really fat.
Do you know there was a place called Tyre that was near Italy?
Oh,
Historically. Like,
cool. No, so it's like it's a a kingdom that has mountain ranges but also the seaside.
Okay. So Cape Town.
Basically, yes.
what do you have for us, Robbie?
Right. I've got the rise of the Prophet of Life, which follows fairly soon after our Selvig Druidic Massacre. And
Okay.
the Prophet of Life is one of the druids who escaped, who then starts a popular uprising against the reign of the cult. and overthrows them and establishes a more egalitarian order.
Okay, that's quite a lot to put in one event, but sure, we've got the Rise of the Prophet of Life. So
Rise of the Prophet of Life. Yeah.
he goes after.
Doesn't it like more qualify as a period?
Well, so we could say
Oh,
that.
yeah,
we could say
maybe.
that.
Yeah, I would say that qualifies more as a period.
I guess it depends. Do you want that? That could be. We could see that as sort of like the. Do you want to
end
be
of
like
this.
the rise of the Prophet of Life, and we don't really know what happens.
Yeah, okay.
Yet
Yes,
does it
that's
become
fine.
the reign
It acquires
of
the bullhorn.
of
the-
the life cult?
Yeah?
Or does it?
And you
we
said,
don't
I
know.
hope
We don't know
this
yet.
is-
Maybe
you
we
can
don't know
choose
yet.
one or the other.
Okay, I think it just must be the end of the reign of
Well,
the.
it might not be that.
cult.
Someone might
Oh.
kill them. So
Okay.
Thomas could decide
Oh.
the assassination of the Prophet of Life and put it still within event
Yeah,
under the
motherfucker.
reign.
Killed your prophet.
But so you could kill him, but because he's now in history, you can, as much as you want, go back to events
Make it
before.
to, yeah.
You can give him you can do scenes. You can
Just
you
keep
know.
resurrecting him. Like he's just come back.
It's in the name, Prophet of Life.
Well, maybe he's like King Arthur. I'm reading the Once and Future King at the moment. I have King Arthur on the brain, but maybe he's like King Arthur. And it's like he's fabled to return one day. Okay.
Should we have cake and then we can go on to the first
So
one?
Yes.
should we pause the recording?
Okay. Yes. Pause the recording. Where is the pause button? Red dot. We're back.
So we first now start the first full round of play, and Thomas has very kindly volunteered to be the sacrifice for the first round of play.
Yes.
So
Are we recording?
we are
Yeah,
we're
we're
recording.
So each round, and so what I'm kind of hoping is that
I'm so busy eating cake.
maybe not every session we come together, but like once a month or whatever, we will have one round with one focus, and each person gets to choose the focus each time. So like maybe the next focus will be Billy wanting to talk about like the Arab opera,
yeah.
or whatever tickles his fancy. So the first thing you do is you pick a focus, and the focus can be anything. It can be a person, a place, what does it say? A thing, an institution, an event, a period, a concept, basically anything you want. But the focus should be a little bit more specific, because it should limit what other people can do. Right? So you can make quite a specific focus. So here, one example they give, like the new focus is going to be the sinking of the Gabriel Dora, a luxury liner that goes down mysteriously. So you make your focus. So the focus that we're going to start with is the orcs.
The orcs.
The orcs. So for each focus, there's one player who is the lens. So Thomas is going to start off as the lens. And now when we're creating history, we go in order, clockwise around the table.
Okay.
So the lens starts us off, and because he's the lens, not only does he get to create either a period, an event, or scene, but he can also create a period and an event in it, or an event and a scene in it. So he gets to choose two things. So he has a bit more creative control on like how we start off on the focus.
Do I do both at once?
So you choose. You can just do a period if you want, but you can choose to do period event, or event scene, or just a scene. So you start with that, then Phil goes. He can choose either a period event or scene. I go either a period event or scene.
But it must be relating to the focus.
Must be related to the focus. Robbie goes period event or scene. Then you go again, and again you can choose to do period event, event scene, or just one. So basically you open up the focus, and you get to have sort of final say on the focus.
Okay.
So that's basically the next step. So let's talk a little bit about scenes. So we've done periods and events, they're basically the same. A scene, like we said, it's a specific thing that happens. And now there are two types of scene. There's a dictated scene, which is pretty similar to a period and event, where you just say what happens.
What
You
happened,
get
okay.
to dictate exactly what happens.
Yeah.
I think this happens. Look, Hitler gets to the underground bunker and he's there with Ava Braun, and they discuss whether or not to kill themselves. But obviously,
spoilers.
yeah. But so like you can be you try and be a bit detailed because it's an actual scene, but you can make it sort of as long as you want. Or you can have what's called not a dictated scene, where everyone gets to play. I don't know what it's called. A regular scene.
A role
Yeah, let me read over a little bit of that because it's a bit more complicated. A role-playing scene.
Robbie and Phil, I forget, are you both sugar?
One sugar.
And I may die from sugar consumption.
Okay, so to create a scene, you first pose a question. And the question is something you want to find out about the history. So the goal of the scene is to answer that question. But the outcome is still
To be decided by the group.
so the outcome is sort of known. So, for example, a question could be, why did the king betray his country?
Ooh.
So you know that the king betrays his country, what you're trying to find out is why. So the end point is already known. Or it can be, are the asteroid miners happy with their rugged frontier lives? Or did the soldier get to marry his hometown sweetheart? So you're asking like a very specific question.
Will I ever find my wife again?
Yeah.
Probably not. You are unmarried.
So again, if you want to just dictate that what happened, you just say. But if you don't, you ask the question.
Aha.
And now, so this
Then
is
we pose
we
it.
might not do these. It might be a bit complicated, but we can try. If anyone wants to be bold with the question, so you state the question, and then you set the stage. So my question might be like, why did the king betray his country? So the stage is we are in the king's court. The armies have surrounded his castle, which he's allowed to have. And like obviously you will draw on the event that the scene falls under to try and frame
Like the
where within the event is the scene occurring. And then you choose characters, essentially. So each person here in the room is going to get to play a character.
A character. Okay.
A character. You, as the person creating the scene, you can specify at maximum 2 characters that have to be there,
Okay.
or 2 characters that aren't allowed to be there. So you can make the scenes a bit weird if it's like, why did the king betray his country?
The
The
king
king's
wasn't
not allowed
there.
to be there,
Yeah.
right? So like, it would be very difficult to do that scene, but you could do that, right?
By mistake.
He betrayed us by
you-
disappearing.
You say, okay, so these 2 characters have to be here, these 2 characters aren't allowed to be here. Again, this is optional, so you can say this one character has to be here, everything else is fine. Then everyone else goes around and chooses the character. And you can have whatever you want, right? So you can be like, I am the court jester. Even if no one's ever mentioned that there was a court jester up until now, I'm like, I'm Dilgo, the court jester, right? So we all choose our characters, so now we all know what our characters are. And then we all have to go around sort of, what's it called? Stating our thoughts.
Oh.
Reveal thoughts. So each player states one thing their character is thinking about the upcoming scene.
Ooh, exciting.
So don't reveal thoughts that answer the question before the scene starts. You can hint or stack the deck, but don't give a definite answer. So for example, the navigator wonders why they're being sent to Corvus 4. He can't believe they'd send a ship all the way out here just to take spectrographic readings. Or your thoughts can be about other players' characters, but again, you're only revealing your character's thoughts, so your
Yeah.
thoughts might not be the truth. So
And also might not be an
the navigator thinks the lieutenant sold them out to the hegemony. So,
Not the hegemony.
so once you have the scene, you now already
thinks, I am so horny right now.
you now start the scene. You start playing the scene, and the person who chose the scene can say who is present when the scene starts, right? And then the other players can have their characters enter whenever they want. If you want to sort of like not really be involved in the scene, you can just say, I'm going to create a background character. So I'm Bilgo, the jester, but I'm not really going to participate in this scene too much. I'm just going to be in the background juggling.
Juggling.
things.
And a caper in the background.
You mean you're going to be preserved
Okay.
pond?
So let me give you an example that I think makes it a little bit
Small and salty.
more clear. So we've got 4 players. Addy, Bors, Cat, and Dennis.
Balls.
Addy, Bors, Cat, and Dennis. So they're
What? How do you
B-O-R-S. Bors.
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 Oh my god.
Anyway, so they're
Who
playing...
named that child?
So these 4 characters, these 4 players are sitting around. They're playing a history where martial art legends have passed down their teachings from generation to generation. It's Kat's turn. She says, let's play a scene. The question is, why is the master hesitant to trust this particular monk to save the secrets of the temple? This is in the event Temple on Seven Eagle Mountain destroyed by Emperor's troops. During the Emperors oppressed the people period. I'm going to put it before the scene where the Imperial General ordered his men to take no prisoners. So we establish the facts, and we establish what, where, and why the scene is taking place. So the scene's taking place in one of the high-walled practice courtyards of the temple. The master has kept the apprentice monk after class and is putting him through grueling exercises, apparently in punishment for some failing. It's midday, the sun is beating down, but in the background there's snowy peaks. Oh, and we know that the attack is going to happen later in the event, but this is before the monastery has been alerted. For characters, I'm requiring the monk and his master. So then you start the scene, everyone picks characters, but that goes in the opposite direction of normal play. So Thomas would go then, if I made the scene be Phil, Thomas, you, me, and then I'm the last person who chooses a character. So everyone chooses their character, everyone reveals their thoughts about what their thoughts. So the person then writes the question on top of the card and puts it there in the scene. For now, you don't know whether it's dark or light because you don't know.
We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So each player controls the character. There's no GM. So it's basically you control what your character does and thinks. If somebody tries to do something to your character, you decide and describe the outcome. So basically,
So the person who the action's being done onto decides what the outcome is.
yes.
Okay.
So if you're like, I stab Bilgo the Jester, I'll be like, Bilgo takes it in the throat and keels over dead. Or I can be like, Bilgo deftly dodges it and continues juggling as if
Oh,
nothing's
but
happened.
so Bilbo doesn't decide it.
I
you
decide that I'm playing the character Bilgo.
Okay.
I'm not Bilgo.
Okay. Let's say he's Bilgo.
Yes.
And your character
I'm
is...
King Tobias.
Okay, King Tobias
King Tobias.
stabs Bilgo. Does Bilgo then decide what happens?
Yes.
Okay.
But you can also introduce secondary characters. So I say, King Tobias says to the guards, off with his head, and the guard approaches you threateningly. If no one's playing the guard, you can decide what happens to that guard. So you can say, Bilgo slits the guard's throat. Or you can say...
Bilgo's a fucking
Damn
badass.
it. Damn it,
Or like
Bilgo.
I
Bilgo,
love Bilgo.
or like Bilgo gets murdered by the guard, right? So any character
That's
not
unlikely.
played by a
Bilgo.
player is fair game.
Bilgo
You can
murdered.
do whatever you
Never
want.
go down there easy. Fuck, I love Bilgo.
And the point of the scene...
I want to name my child Bilgo now.
The point of the scene is...
That's my baby's Bilgo.
Everyone is trying to answer the question, right?
Yeah.
So like you ask the question, and now obviously you will have in mind what
A
you want the
route,
answer
yeah.
to be, and like you're trying to play that your outcome happens, right?
It's happened.
If there are conflicts, right? So let's say the king says to the guard, "Off with his head," and you say, "Bilgo kills the guard." There's this thing where you like push. I can say like, actually, I don't think that happens. Let's try and find that. Push. So push, creative conflict. So after the other players hear your idea, so you say, I kill the guard, they may put forward proposals of their own. Once all the options are on the table, everyone votes to decide which one
right.
actually
The
happens.
more exciting version.
But I can't say, actually, I think the guard does kill you, because he still has autonomy over his character. But I can push for something else to happen to the guard.
Yeah.
So I can say like, no, the guard stumbles back, badly wounded, but he doesn't die.
But he's not dead.
And then I say, that's what I'm opposing your proposal, and then we all
And then
vote.
we say, yeah, I'm happy for the god to live.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So that
Cards are
sounds a bit
people too.
complicated, but I guess we can go through it as we go through.
If we get to that. Yeah.
But the first, rewinding a bit.
Yeah.
The first thing is we are now on. The focus is the orcs. Thomas, you are the lens, so you get to
Hell
start
yeah.
by choosing either to add a period, an event, or scene, or both period, event, scene.
So I'd appreciate some feedback on whether this would be more suitable as a period or an event, which I believe is I mean, this isn't like actual collaboration, just like advice, I guess. So, my vision.
So you can propose. Yeah. So I think the best thing is to like propose what you want, and then we decide whether it's.
We can
Okay.
decide. Okay.
So, my idea for half orcs in this universe. So, first off, Damon was like, "Where do half orcs come from?" And I was like, "How the fuck should I know?" And then I got to thinking about it, and one of the things I really don't like about D&D is that often half orcs are sort of implied to be the children of rape,
Yeah.
which is a bit gross, and sort of puts the entire race in a bit of a gross light. I don't think it's that way in 5e, actually. I think in 5e it's like
Happy
intermarriages
happy
from clans
consummation.
and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that sounds a bit rapey still. But so, my conception of half orcs in this universe is that there are now no longer any full blood orcs. What happened was
So no, but okay, I'm going to stop you. You can't dictate history. You can only say a period or an event, right?
okay.
So maybe you're going to propose a period where orcish interbreeding happened, and then all full orcs were killed by
So again,
pirates.
all I'm saying is that whatever you propose has to happen within the bounds of a period, an event, or a scene, I guess.
Okay. Not sure. Well, then, yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe someone else can take over then.
No, it's your turn. Sorry. But you can say, like, this period is that this thing happened, and then you can give us the explanation around it, right?
They just phrase
Yeah, okay, so the event is the defeat of the Undying One releases like a wave of energy that like turns an entire like community of humans into orcs.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So-
Will that take place during this?
Transmutation.
Yeah, so
that's
it's,
like
it's an event, right?
it's
So
an event.
basically,
blue
like
thingy.
wherever it is that the Undying One is slain, whichever human settlement is nearest is just
Yes.
enveloped in this wave of corrupting energy and becomes orcs. And
Okay.
and I can't say any more.
Oh
Than that.
no, I've become
That's
fat
probably
and
enough detail
green.
for an event, right? Like, because now we don't know what happens to
Yeah,
it.
and now we need the
village.
scene of.
So you can choose to have a scene within that if you want, like a.
Yeah.
So what I
You can call it like the turning of
I can-
the little village.
I can do a period then, and what the period can be is like the rise and fall of the orcs, and then the scene can be the thing of their creation.
So where would you put the period, the rise and fall of the orcs?
I don't know. It's fine.
No, because like do the orcs have to be evil?
We haven't established whether they're evil or not.
Because if they're not evil, then I've got something they can do.
But again, you're not allowed to. No collaboration allowed.
Mm.
Metagaming pigeon.
So the tone is dark.
Well, yes, because that's a bad thing.
It's very racist of you.
Wow. I mean, but that was that was kind of where I wanted to go with that, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say anything else.
You can
A
scene
scene,
it.
you can put a
You can
scene
scene it.
within there where you're asking a question.
No, it's sort of like the overall like and how it ties into my character, but it's fine. Don't worry.
Unfortunately, not now, but when you come around to the end.
Sure.
You will be able to tie it off.
So you don't want to add a scene? Okay. Phil, it's your turn.
My turn. Okay.
But the focus is this event, right? So like my
This
understanding is that
event.
like what he's adding has to relate to this in some way.
Hmm.
So I guess you can decide, what do you want the focus to be? you want the focus to be generically orcs, or do you want the focus to be this particular event? In which case, Phil can only add scenes to this event.
That was.
Or no, like if you want the event to be the turning of the orcs, the turning of humans into orcs, you can create that as the focus. And Phil, you could add like an event further on where it's like an archaeological dig that reveals the original village or something, or like an expedition to the original orcish transformation site as an event there, right?
Or
But, Thomas, you need to decide how
broad or narrow?
Yeah, what level of zoom you want our focus to be.
You are our lens.
Let's stick with the initial defeat of the Undying then, and the effect that has on the world, and then we can stick within this period.
Okay, so everything has to happen within this period.
Yeah.
Like other things that happen that are similar to this and have effects on things.
Okay, so it's not necessarily orcish things.
So, for example, in this case, it's like there is like when the Undying One is killed, there is a corrupting wave that affects the world in
ways.
yes,
yeah. Okay, cool. So we're focusing just in this period.
yes,
Okay, cool.
just for now.
So can I just say what I wanted to do if I was to choose any period?
No.
You'll
get your chance.
Okay, I will.
So hold on to the idea, like
Okay, yes, I
So
will.
the reason
Definitely.
the reason why you don't do this is it specifically says you don't want to too negatively, you don't want to influence the other players too much, because if we're all working too much in unison for the history, then the history becomes like too predictable and boring. What you want is like what you essentially want is like me to write something that totally fucks with your plans.
You're like, oh fuck, I didn't mean it. Yeah.
But then you have to like come up with something.
And then it'll be
interesting.
surprising and interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. Anyway. Okay, cool. So, what ramifications could I think of the Undying being defeated? Well, I'm gonna create an event. To make space for my event.
Actually, I'm such an idiot. We should have done them like this, so then we could go like that, probably, right?
Either way.
Oh, like the things like that, but then under the events like this.
Mm-hmm.
Now that works better. Yeah. Because then it like time-wise this way.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Tell us, Phil. What does the Undying One's energy do?
Okay, it's gonna sound very similar to this, but they don't get turned into orcs.
My God, that's still my idea.
Yeah, but they don't get turned into orcs. No, I just wanted to say that there's a village where all the inhabitants just go into a coma.
There's a sleeping village.
Sleeping Beauty
yes.
Village. But do they die because they don't eat?
No, they like this weird dark magic that's just sustaining them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sleepy Village vibes.
Then he gets to add a location to his map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can name the village if you want.
Yay!
Also,
My
yeah, if you
favorite
want to name the
thing.
village, Thomas. you
No,
can.
I was thinking more in terms of like a country for that one.
Oh,
Okay.
mine is
Yeah.
specifically just a tiny village.
So would this be like all the humans in like a peripheral circle around the epicenter of this Undying, of this wave?
I don't know. It sort of depends on how the Undying One operated, because it wouldn't make if the Undying One. Elgar's Rest is where the Undying One was originally defeated. Yes.
Within that forest, in the center of
Within
that
that,
forest.
in the center of that forest. Okay. So maybe like the mountains like shielded nearby humans from it, and it was like some sort of like other group of. Anyway, we can work out the details, but like it was some large group of people, humans, specifically humans,
Okay.
who got turned into orcs.
I just need to check something.
Have to spell.
No, just something. Okay.
The sleepy curse of.
The sleepy curse of. Well, it's of the undying, but on I'm probably mean.
On the Undying.
No, the sleepy curse came from the undying.
Oh, yes.
So the town, if I say the village, the small village that it takes place, probably is the sleepy curse on.
Of is also fine.
Okay. Of the village of.
I quite like this collection of miscellaneous curses. Like, I think it's quite cool, right? Like, I'm thinking of ways that, like, things that could be giving rise to the differences. Like, maybe the curse hits a prism somewhere and it
And
just,
then like diffracts away.
Yeah. Sorry, we're not allowed to be talking.
What is the name of your village?
Aurora.
Aurora.
Yes.
After Sleeping Beauty.
Yes!
Such a fail rat.
Sleepy village of Aurora.
Borealis.
Where the black magic, I don't know, undying magic
Stops them from dying.
Yes! Keeps them alive.
Also stops them from doing anything else.
Keeps them alive
It's the lazy curse.
Can I have that,
and
please?
feeds on their dreams.
Oh, man.
That got metal towards the end there. Maybe you want to write your thing and then write the circle, because you consistently don't let yourself enough space.
I thought I did this time. Their dreams and nightmares.
No, that's me.
Okay. So that's fine, but just to be a pedantic puss.
Do it.
No, so it's the village of Aurora is cursed with the sleepy curse, right?
Yes.
So that's the event.
Yes.
Right? Cool.
Yeah,
And-
maybe don't get too like detailed in the descriptions of what.
No, I'm just saying, like, the circumstances in that slice of time.
Yeah, it's okay to say that, like that. The details is probably still okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying what the outcome of it is or something. I'm just in that slither of event. I'm basically just trying to say that the people of Aurora are just sleeping. And they're not dying because whatever's keeping them awake feeds on their dreams. What do we write scenes on?
There's that paper. You split it.
Okay.
And write a scene. So a scene will go in an envelope, and then the blue envelopes go in the white
White
envelopes.
envelopes. No, it's not
Oh.
a scene yet.
God, this is so clever.
Well, you only
It's like a
realize
Russian
this
doll
I know.
for
For narrative.
narrative.
And then there's a bigger envelope that is just called history.
And an even larger envelope, which is just time.
And I'm pretty sure that's how they invented physics.
Yeah, I mean, it's an object in space and they've called it time.
That's
And it's bendy.
it's bendy.
And like, and the period before the history is just old people sitting in a circular room saying, "Hey, physics is a really nice idea."
That's very meta. And I want whatever drugs you're on.
The recreational drugs.
Yeah. They
Yes,
still need
which
to come
must
out,
be
man.
mentioned at some point.
They're coming. They're
Yeah.
coming.
That is my focus.
What is your event, Damien?
So this event is a good event that happens.
Ooh.
Ooh.
In this event, the 5 surviving mage lords meet in a sort of god's moot, or conference if you want,
Yeah, smooth.
and they agree on the Treaty of Humanity.
Ooh.
Okay.
But the people of Aurora weren't included.
They were not.
Sleeping.
Does the Treaty of Humanity involve orcs?
They maybe have.
We could have a scene where we discuss this.
I will say at this stage, in this event, there's no knowledge of
There's
these
also
events yet.
simultaneous.
So these things immediately happened, but no orcs present.
No orcs allowed. Keep out, this means you.
And so the Treaty of Humanity, I don't know if I'm allowed to describe that or not, but I guess it's reasonably
We could probably create a
explanatory.
scene.
It's
where
entertaining to describe what you see this as, so do it.
Do it.
So for me, I view this as like obviously
Treaty
there's
of
like a
Versailles.
lot of disparate groups of people. I would imagine the mage lords are arcane and lords in the sense that they rule over some people. They all sort of meet up and agree to put aside their differences, whatever, and conflicts, for the greater good and for the re-establishment of society.
Ooh,
So it's seen as like, I guess, I don't know, the UN,
the UN,
or like the
establishment of the
what's that thing that happened after World War One?
League of Nations.
The Declaration of Versailles or whatever.
the Treaty of Versailles.
Treaty of Versailles.
This
Except
is
that
the
we
Treaty
have,
of Humanity.
we've got no one to penalise. Alright. I want to do an event. I should do a scene, but I want to do an event. And it can be a random event. This world
I
had
love
2
random
moons,
events.
and the wave of evil broke one.
Wait, so it's just like a moon that's like splits in two,
Well-
and then like the two halves are just drifting.
Well,
there.
we'll have to see. Okay, so
So as the continue with writing your thing. But at the end of this, as the lens, do I get to edit my original thing?
No, you get to add another period, another event, or another scene, or
Okay.
2 of.
and I'm gonna. Is this good or bad? I guess it's bad. Shit's gonna go
It's
down.
like, oh yay, the moon broke.
Broken moon.
One of
bitches.
them. One of them.
Do you have a name for the broken moon?
You get to name the moon.
Broken
Something with an X. Xylus. That's the moon.
I would have called it
Broken
Xylitol.
Xylus, not xylitol. It's not a 5 carbon sugar.
So you're putting that right at the end, after.
Oh no, that actually should happen.
Before this,
No, it's at the moment of this is kind of
simultaneous.
yeah.
Okay, these 3 all kind of happen simultaneously.
Yeah.
So maybe this is all we're all learning, but maybe the event should have been the Undying One releases a corrupting wave,
Yeah, and then these
and then
are
the
all-
different scenes could have been like.
Well, yeah, but I
humans
didn't
Yeah.
know that the other people were going to. That
Yeah.
everyone else was going to like. Well, I do.
Yeah.
But we can change it to that.
But
like,
my
we can-
scene would be
I think this is
boring.
fine, this
It's
is
like,
fine, because
oh, we're
these-
leaving happy lives.
These events are like fine. It's fine. It's like there's no set time limit between them. They just come after each other. I think it's okay for now.
Okay. Okay, so I want to make an event to sort of cap the orc theme of this
Another
particular
blue one.
lens.
Okay.
An academic proves that the orcs are turning back into humans.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
That's presumably later.
yes, so that's around the time of Earl Grey. So
You can put it under his period.
yeah, so that's what I was planning. Am I allowed to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can put the things any time during time as long as they relate to the lens.
Well, I'd have to create a period if I wanted to put like a period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to create a scene for that event? Within that event?
Yeah, go on then. And then do I get to create the characters that are going on in the scene?
we
Yes,
each choose a
you ask a
character.
question,
Okay.
and then you get to choose, if you want, 2 characters that have to be there, and 2 characters that aren't allowed to be there, if you want. You can say 1 character that has to be there, 1 that doesn't.
That's a clever solution to why they're half orcs. I like it.
So there's no like full blood orcs anymore. It's just everything's a half orc because
Everything's-
they're all becoming human.
They're kind of like shifting back down.
There's a half orc in all of us.
But there's been like
Every Friday night, if you know what I mean.
But there's been
Oh!
I've completely lost my train of thought. No, so what I was thinking is like they all got turned in, like all of these humans got turned into orcs, and then basically for 1,000 years, human society has believed that these orcs were just like irrevocably orcs.
Yeah, and just horrible
as-
creatures.
Yes, but as generation after generation has gone on over this 1,000 years,
They-
they've got progressively smaller and smarter and more human
And less orky.
and less orc-like. So this is kind of like a point of contention with the orcs also, because in 1,000 years you develop a culture. So like their culture, this result confirms something that they've been sort of like fearing all of this time, like in the back of their minds. Like this is like we're becoming weaker and smaller and stupider like
Yeah,
human,
like
and
filthy humans.
yeah, but
Or
hence
clean humans.
But yeah, so there's a lot of like cultural confusion and identity.
Ah.
So
But could you say then they wanted to be portrayed as like the
Yeah, well, they probably built up a culture around.
sorry, I used the opportunity while you were out the room
You're
to
not allowed
spoil your
to,
game.
puss. It's fine, I'm going to actively work against you now.
What's it? Oh no, they're turning back into orcs!
Do we have a name for this academic?
I don't know yet.
That's,
Polly Pussy Pants.
academician.
There's the
I've
son
always
of
wanted to
all
be called an
grey,
academician.
Ceylon Grey.
Not Ceylon Grey.
CeeLo Green.
CeeLo Green! Okay.
What is
Oh,
that?
actually, hang on. This is a bit of a mixed event because, on the one hand, it's a landmark in terms of the Orcish race, but on the other, it's controversial, and a lot of people disagree with the findings as being true, and agree with the findings, but think that it's like
A bad thing.
yes. So
Okay.
it's a bit of a mixed blessing. Am I allowed to have a mixed blessing?
I'm having a look.
I think you'd be able to do. Full and half.
Nope, you'll explain how that tone fits your description. You're never wrong about tone, but you do have to justify your choice to the other players.
Okay,
Like
I'll say
what?
overall it's a light thing.
Just ignore the line.
So what have you written?
An academic proves that orcs are reverting to humans.
Cool.
And maybe we can have a scene from that.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
So you ask a question. Let me move to the scene. Yeah, so you start by asking a specific question you want answered within that.
Okay. How do the civilized races react to the announcement of orcish personhood, basically?
So it's based. What?
Okay.
So wait, how do
Well,
the...
I mean, don't say K. Like, just tell me what I must do differently.
That's okay, yeah. So you've said that question. How do the civilized races react to this proof, is what you're saying,
Yes.
essentially. Okay. What is... Now you have to set the stage.
Set the stage.
Oh, Cyan orc is an orc!
Okay,
So,
so
right, so... Okay, now we're getting here.
Onto the paper.
Onto the piece of paper.
to the
So,
paper.
write your question with the normal pen.
My period!
So write your question at the top of the card with your normal pen.
I'm thinking of YouTube videos now.
Keep the card out so everyone can look at the question while playing the scene. We haven't assigned a tone to this theme yet.
You haven't decided on it?
Tone yet
Or the scene?
for the scene. We play out the scene and then we discuss and then we put the tone on the scene.
Oh, okay. Play it out first.
I killed Bill Hicks and I get to live.
Okay.
I'm still thinking about that YouTube video.
You watch too many of the YouTubes.
Bone apple tea. Bone apple tea. Well, you weren't there.
It was not.
Okay.
And thus, this in-joke is completely wasted.
So now, Thomas, you review established facts. So what are the established facts around this so far?
Okay. How do you mean?
So in terms of what's on the history, we've
Okay.
got this.
So, as far as anyone in this period knows, orcs are a thing that's basically always existed.
No, you're not. No. So when we're saying we're viewing established facts, it's like what has been on the
Things
table.
that has
What's
been
on
mentioned.
the table here. So
Oh,
what we
okay.
know is the established. So essentially, this history is essentially like the written record of history. So it's almost. It's not necessarily assumed that every character knows everything, but we around the table
have access.
know everything,
Okay.
right?
So,
So we know that.
when the
We are
Undying One,
essentially
okay, so
the
we know that
room
when the
of
Undying
old
One
men,
was
so
slain,
the biggest-
there was an effect on the world which broke the moon,
Is there more result?
fucked up the orcs.
And that was generally both of those were dark,
Yes,
dark events.
dark events. Yes.
Okay, but we don't really know at the moment in history. We don't know. Essentially,
How
we know that
detailed?
the orcs weren't present at the Treaty of Humanity, and that's basically all we know about orcs at the moment. So this is going to be quite an interesting scene.
Okay, but
It's open. Yeah.
I think that works because I'm not seeing a lot of Well, I mean, this is maybe editorializing again, but I'm not seeing a lot of interaction between then and now with orcs besides like occasional bandit raids.
Okay, but you are editorializing, so please stop editorializing.
Okay, well, I'm trying, but it's difficult because I'm like trying to discuss ideas and
But you're not allowed to discuss ideas. That's the
Okay,
whole point.
well,
So the next thing you have to do is tell us where does this scene happen.
am I allowed to say that?
Describe where the scene physically takes place and what is going on. Are the characters here for a reason? Is there something they intend to do? What happened just before the scene? If there are specific incidents implied in the event description or the question, say whether this is before or after those events. So the example is, it's night shift on the bridge of the Icarus, and the captain should be asleep, but he's checking on his green crew. We know the ship is going to discover the ghost planet, but that hasn't happened yet. It's a normal cruise so far.
Okay.
Oh, so this could be like
No.
Well, I'm not sure what I'm allowed to do here.
You're basically saying where is this scene where that event is, where this question, what is the scene where we are going to get the answer to this
that
question?
Okay, well, okay. So maybe it's like the 800th anniversary of that god. What is that meeting that you had at the very beginning?
The
The
Treaty of Humanity.
Yeah.
Treaty of Humanity.
There's like a festival for the Treaty of Humanity, like every 100 years or so, and this is like the 8th of those. And an academic has caused controversy by bringing an orc to this for the first time, and people are now discovering, and they're presenting their evidence using this orc, this one of the proto half orcs as like evidence that like not all like orcs are basically people, and have language and reasoning
hashtag not
skills.
all orcs.
Well, I mean they're not just like Neanderthals basically.
Okay, so it's the 8th meeting of the Treaty of Humanity. This academic has brought a half orc to the celebration.
Yes.
Okay. And he somehow presented his proof that they are reverting back to humanity, or is the proof that this
In the capital city of the
half,
kingdom.
is the proof this half orcish?
No,
specimen?
I like I think it's like a bit of a, it's going to sound incredibly racist, but sort of like a Jane Goodall and the Chimps kind of thing. Like this academic has spent a lot of time like among the orcish tribes. After like limited exposure to them, has determined that like the commonly accepted wisdom that orcs are all savage has proven incorrect, and now has brought a half orc back to humanity to like present their findings, and also here is my half orc friend.
It's my helpful friend.
Yes,
Okay.
Deal with it.
I can't be racist. My best friend is a half orc.
Anyone else have questions about where the scene is?
Where does the scene take place? Like, where physically does the academic show?
Is there like a big meeting of world leaders?
No leading
No
questions.
leading questions. Oh,
Good
okay.
question, Phil. Bad question, Robbie.
Oh.
It is in the biggest castle that's ever been seen.
Fucking big
It
castle.
It's an extravagantly large castle. It's so huge and monolithic. It's basically an entire city.
Does the city envelop the kingdom? No,
Yeah.
it doesn't, because otherwise other cities can't
This
exist.
castle is so large you would be able to see it from the second moon, where it's still in existence.
Maybe it still exists, it was just
Can you
broken.
be more specific where in the castle, if it is a monolithic castle the size of a city?
Well, I mean, so like,
Says the
yeah,
hundred
it's like a
and
giant.
some castles.
It's a giant fort city, and the festival is held like in the keep itself. You know how like old timey castles used to like open their doors and let villagers in. And there's like cities used to be structured like there would be a castle, which was like a small city in and of itself, and then there would be like the outskirts, which would be walled off, and then there would be village there. That, but on like a gigantic scale.
Okay, but so where are we?
Okay.
In-
Well,
But so like, are we in the central castle? Are we on the outer?
Yes,
Are we
we're
in
in the
a,
cen- we're in the
Are we in
centre
an
of the
inn?
castle.
Are we in like the? Are we like in a room? Are we in like a lecture?
like in a
venue?
festival outside.
Do we have an
Okay.
audience
Tell
with
me.
the king?
No, you tell me. I'm asking you questions.
Well, okay, we're in a festival. It's outside.
Okay. Now you have to choose characters. So you can require or ban up to 2 characters.
Well, I don't know any of the characters. We
No,
haven't
well,
discussed
one
any
of the characters would
characters.
obviously be the academic. I'm just gonna say that.
Do you want to give me some examples?
So I require the king and a secret heretic, and I ban the king's son and anyone from the neighboring kingdom.
Okay, but we don't
So
know any of these.
You can require ban characters, but it's up to you. So if you say you don't want to require or ban any characters, you can say that.
Okay, well, there needs to be at least the academic and at least their half-orc friend, and then like there needs like I'm not going to ban anyone, but like the heads of at least 2 of the like kings of the other places which I don't know yet.
So you're banning.
I'm not banning anyone.
Okay.
He's
So you
using
can
his
only
banning
require
points
2.
to
You can
add.
only
Okay,
require
well, I'll
2
require
characters.
those 2 then.
Okay. So now we go this way.
This
So
way.
you get to pick the first
I
character.
get to be the academician.
Academic.
Academician.
That's a word.
This is really weird. I thought it was just an academic.
An academician is like a Victorian word for academic.
Oh my gosh, academician.
So you need a few words to describe the character,
Okay.
including any relationships they have to other characters.
So my academician is a bit of a crazy guy, clearly, having lived amongst the orcs for many years. Speaks Orcish, and whatever they speak, and
It is Orcish. 'Cause
It
like,
is Orcish.
Like half-orcs speak Orcish
okay,
in present day.
in the present day. Okay,
Yeah.
so he speaks Orcish, as well as whatever the commonly spoken language is here, and he was brilliant in his youth and then went off the rails, and so is not respected in the community necessarily anymore.
Okay. I am. I will be Earl Grey.
Oh, great.
Oh lordy.
I am Earl Grey, the Earl of
Great.
the Earl of the land of Grey.
Well, actually, I have Tyre, but
I am now in my late 80s by this stage.
wait, can the kingdom change its name?
Later on, yeah, if you add another period. So I am Earl Grey. I am old and wizened. This is my castle, and I'm on my throne overseeing the festival, but I've started to go a bit senile.
Oh yay.
Can I ask you leading questions?
No.
Please.
Okay, I am. I am Earl Grey's fifth wife.
If you are named after a plant, I'm gonna get upset.
Lady Petunia.
Lady Redbush.
She's got a what?
Lady Redbush.
She does not.
My fifth wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lady Redbush.
How old are you, Lady Redbush?
I'm considerably younger. But I am the fancy version of the Minister of Home Affairs as well.
You could be the Minister of Home Affairs.
As you do. How did you get to be Minister of Home Affairs and also the significantly younger?
I am
wife
very
of the
good at
king?
telling people, okay, do this, don't do this. No, this, like this thing interrupts that group of people's thingy. So yes.
So are you the actual ruler?
No, well, maybe. I'm just in charge of like the relations between different groups. So I don't dictate like any of the laws or something.
So
I'm
you're
just
like a diplomat.
yes.
Okay.
I send you to the other place
Yes.
to haul yourself out.
Yes, that's the thing. Like,
Okay.
With your red bush.
I just come home because I know where my bread is buttered.
Okay.
Do I have to be someone?
Yes.
Unless
Unless you want to be background. But
Be my chihuahua.
who did you say had to be there?
The academic and
Oh,
the-
you still need the half orc friend.
You have to be
so-
the half orc then if you're requiring him to be there.
Can I change my mind on that?
I suppose, seeing as it's our first time.
Yes.
Okay. I don't really know who I want to be. I'll just be a background character.
Okay, then I'll change to an half orc.
Okay, does that change your mind at all?
No, not really.
Okay, so you who are the one who's making... I don't know, do you... You were making the scene... Well, okay, who is your background character? You still have to tell us.
A dignitary from a neighboring kingdom who is listening to all of this and not enjoying it.
Okay, so now you all have to reveal your thoughts. So you state one
Okay,
thing
well,
your
I'm
character is
changing
thinking.
mine to the half orc so that the half orc's there.
Okay.
I mean, he doesn't have to be there.
No,
Maybe the half orc doesn't speak. What do they speak?
but I have thoughts though.
It's up to you,
Okay,
Thomas.
I will be the half orc, then you can be your character.
Okay. Lady Redbush.
Okay, so each character states one thing that their character is thinking about the upcoming scene. Start to the right of the player making the scene and continue in all
It's
directions.
me. It's me.
What are you thinking?
I am thinking that I am going to.
Reveal everything.
Yeah, I'm going to become like famous. And
What is your name again?
I haven't got a name. I've just
Okay.
been an academician. Maybe I should think of a name.
Sorry, it's fine.
Felix. His name is Felix.
Okay.
And I don't know what his surname is. So he's thinking that this reveal and this discussion and him demonstrating his half-orc friend as a person is going to get him back into the good books of his peers.
Okay. So I'm Earl Grey. I'm looking forward to seeing my good old friend Felix, who most people think is quite insane, but I've always had a bit of a soft spot for him. Yeah? Not knowing why he's here. Or can't remember. I'm a bit old in my old age.
I'm fucking hungry as that thing. No. No. I think. Oh, here comes Felix. He causes quite a lot of trouble with his ideas, which I need to put out the fires for. But I respect him as he is an academician. But I do know he does cause a lot of trouble for me.
No, I'm the half orc whose name I don't. His name is Sirocco.
Sirocco.
Yeah.
I love it.
And he.
Sounds so like party vibes.
No, I'm thinking Rocky like is gonna run up some stairs.
Doing the party vibes in Sirocco.
His name is
Rocco
Sirocco.
Steele. Yes.
Who the hell is Rocco Steele?
Still.
Oh, okay.
What?
I didn't have this conversation with you guys.
No.
This was my other friends.
Your porn watching friends. We don't watch porn. I have never watched
No, because
porn.
Rocco Steele has a very big dick.
I would not know because I don't watch porn. What?
Sorry.
You create your own porn. You create your own porn.
Sure. Sorry, yes, Rocco was.
Yes, Sirocco.
No, he is seeing regular human society for the first time and is having a very, very mixed reaction to it. Sort of like a little bit of shame in that, like, this is like what his people should have been doing if they hadn't been fucked up, but also like this also seems terrible.
Okay.
Interesting.
No, I'm not sure how we play this. I'm gonna have to read it up.
Well, we don't have to play it, do we?
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise you could just dictate it, but then we didn't have to choose all characters and everything.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't think we would get this far.
This is Rocco Steele.
I don't see his penis.
We see
Google.
eyes.
Eh.
Alright.
Oh, him, yeah.
See? I don't know what was meant to see, but he exists. He's a real person who does
Okay.
porn.
Okay.
So,
It probably wasn't born Rocco Steele.
Probably
so
not.
Thomas, you get to
What
say
is your
who is
name?
present when the scene starts.
Yeah.
He's 49 years old.
Which we've done, I guess.
So we all present when the scene starts.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I guess so. Necessarily for me then.
I want that in one of our future scenes. I just want there to be a character that hides in a cupboard.
You can't go back into the closet, mate. Sorry.
No. There's just like a character who's like a gnome that hides in the cupboard. And then the backstory says that is my great grandfather.
Couldn't be that many
Yeah,
greats
'cause you also
we live
know.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
You live a long time, so it could be your grandfather from here.
Great grandfather.
Great grand gnome.
My great grand gnome. Yeah.
My great gnome daddy.
Gnome daddy.
Gnome daddy.
I ain't your father, boy. I'm your gnome daddy.
Please let that be canon.
It's like gnome shaft exists somewhere around here, and it's like the progenitor of like 95% of the gnomes.
I'm gonna add an event where the term gnome daddy becomes popular.
Not allowed.
Well, when it's my turn, I'm going to.
Do it.
I'm very bad at. We're all very bad at this game.
The reason we're bad at it is we're too
Chatty.
collaborative by nature.
That's true. And very chatty.
I think you just go.
Just go.
During
Right.
the scene, everyone should be trying to answer the question. Keep looking at the question as you play.
Dear
the scene
House
ends
of
when the players know
Fate!
the answer to the question.
Dear, here's our friend Felix. Your name is Felix.
So Felix
What was
wanders.
that? I shake a little bit and look over the.
I don't know why my voice was like that.
I come and greet
This is
you.
my
So hang on,
voice.
the setting here isn't informal. It's definitely formal. So this is like research being presented to an audience. Like you guys know.
Okay.
Oh, so I tap twice on my Earl Grey scepter for quiet.
It's a giant mug.
little bags hanging on the.
It's just his coat of arms is just like an orange. And you're like, why is it an orange?
Is Earl Grey tea made from oranges?
Bergamot.
I bang my
Citrus
bergamot mace for silence.
Burger mace.
I rest my hand on my lovely lady's leg. I will bring in the
Meanwhile, I'm just looking at
academician.
all the other decks in the room.
Bring Phoenix in. The court is ready to hear his findings.
Right.
And I instruct 2 guards to swing open the doors to the throne room. There are lords and ladies gathered along long tables where they had previously been dining, but now everything goes quiet as the doors swing open.
Felix wanders in. My lords and my ladies, I bring you great news. I have proof that those creatures we thought were creatures are actually people. Here is my proof.
Oh no, that was the crowd. That wasn't me.
Oh.
I was about to say, it's like,
Are
are you sure you're saying
So
into
are
a
you playing the
human?
crowd?
Wow.
He was ad hoc.
Ad hoc.
Ad hocing the crowd.
That's
I
what I
raise
do.
my
I
hand
gasp.
for silence.
Now,
Peace and cars, peace and cars.
the racists among you may deny it,
Please go on.
but it is true. Orcs are people too.
Fuck, this is gonna create a lot of fires I need to put out.
The
I'll
chef
just say that to them like
slowly
myself.
spit roasting an orc stops. It's spit roasting.
They are.
It's like I became
He's-
problematic 3 seconds ago.
Oh shit. Hashtag me.
Kids playing with their little orc dolls. Like,
Oh, I'm gonna put that one aside.
Phoenix, this is not the first claim you have made to the court. And while I always welcome your interesting and stimulating ideas, have you any proof of such a bold claim?
I have proof. Sirocco.
Two guards wheel in a tarpaulin-covered box. What looks like a cage.
I'm not in a box, goddammit. I'm not
He's
an animal.
human! All turning into
Wow.
human.
So you're not in a cage then? Okay,
No,
so
I
it's
mean,
your character.
it's a company of equals type thing.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't think you
I'd
would
im-
I wouldn't.
yeah,
I would.
I'd
But
imagine
maybe
he would
you-
walk in wearing human clothes.
But maybe you would be accompanied by
Oh no, yeah.
because they're not
For
trusted.
sure, because I'm 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
So how do you enter Sirocco then?
Flanked by guards, but upright and dignified.
And I'm like,
clean.
shoo, you guards. This is no common criminal that you're escorting in.
I pay them no mind.
And my mind is going sploosh.
Mine is going sploosh for Sirocco.
You didn't realize you were into 8 foot tall orcs. But
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Now you know.
Oh, Lady Redbush.
If this were now, you would be starting a Tumblr as we speak.
Yes, true. Lady Redbush
I-
would do that if that
I
was
squint
available.
my eyes and look towards you.
Okay, so so what exactly is the proof?
That's an excellent question, my dear.
I prodded it with a needle and it made human sounds.
What do we consider to be the hallmarks of personhood? The ability to talk and reason, society, law and justice, fairness. All of these I have seen, diplomacy, I have seen and experienced in orcish society, and I put it to you that we have unfairly labeled them as beasts when they are people indeed. Tell us, Sirocco.
Okay, so as you say this, the crowd is sort of and then silent, and then paying attention, and then Sirocco's chieftainess. I come from the Sirocco tribe, whose name I bear, and we have brought gifts of greeting between our two peoples. The Sirocco tribe, being smaller and more advanced than our neighbors, bears no ill will towards the humans. And I imagine it's the first time any of you has heard an orc speaking common.
Side note, does that mean everyone in that village is called Sirocco?
It's very difficult.
No. The village is called, the community is called Sirocco because I'm called Sirocco.
Oh, okay. So anthropologically speaking,
It's-
So blah, 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 blah.
I'm introducing a
I'm an
secondary
academician.
character.
Ooh.
Stepping out from
The
the
shadows.
king's side is Sneed,
Oh,
the king's
no.
counsel and
No, it's the
scientific
vizier!
advisor.
I hate the fucking Grand Vizier.
and I also hate him.
Don't
but
listen
my
to him,
husband-
Sneed bows to the king. Your Majesty, if I may speak,
No, you may not.
my dear, Sneed has been with me for decades.
I know, but you know
Sneed,
how I
good
feel.
friend.
But you know how I feel about Sneed, and I've told you this many times.
This is a place of academic inquiry. All voices are heard in the Hall of Jegalon.
Alright.
Hall of Jegalon.
Okay, so now it's
What
called.
this is
That's
now?
canon now. Hall of Jegalon.
So Sneed
Gigolo.
steps forth and he bows. And he sort of starts like walking around you, Sirocco. And he says, what my academic comrade Phoenix here says may be true. Indeed, it does sound like this orc can speak the common tongue. He may very well have culture. He may very well be good-hearted. But there are many beasts in this world who are intelligent, who speak language, who have culture. Not all of them are good. Some are decidedly evil. He brings no proof that this creature is anything other than what we already know. He is an orc. He was not part of the Treaty of Humanity, and therefore I see no reason to suggest that there is any humanity inside of him, and thus should not be coven to our privileges.
Well, let me just speak as the diplomat among us all.
You get your bush out, lady.
You are also forgetting, Grand Vizier, that
Who no one likes. I love
That-
that. We all hate this dude.
because Grand Viziers are
Yeah,
just
obviously.
meant
No,
to be
Go
evil.
on, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Anyway, but you are forgetting that as opposed to the other creatures, orcs have originally been human, if you remember correctly.
We don't know that.
We don't know
know
that.
I thought we knew that.
He's presenting evidence.
I'm about to
Okay,
Make it so.
reverse that. Fuck. Anyway,
I'd just like to say, Grand Vizier, fuck.
I'd like to imagine that's what
That
character
would
is like.
be one way to determine its humanity, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yes, like, but as opposed to other creatures who could probably speak and things like that, orc blood has been introduced into human bloodstream, so they create half-orcs and things.
Ooh.
Because, yes, I have friends who are into that.
Or into that. What the lady is trying to say, thank you for introducing this topic, is that through the advent of modern medicine, we now have the ability to look at tiny objects.
Magical
inside.
DNA.
Magical DNA. And
DNA?
orc blood
What's that?
is the same as human blood. And this is unequivocal proof that orcs and humans...
What is DNA, if I may ask?
No, not DNA.
Blood.
Thingies.
If,
Blood.
if you have
Blood.
such proof, please, by
And
all means.
give me 5 minutes while I go and fetch my microscope.
Have you corroborated this with a blood wizard?
Has this been peer reviewed?
It has been
Otherwise
peer
it's not-
reviewed.
it's not gonna
No,
get
but I would
published.
imagine if you corroborate this with a blood wizard.
Oh.
I'm
So,
talking as the
as a quick-
diplomat.
Yeah.
Are blood wizards a thing that we have?
Lady Redbeard, Red whatever.
It's canon now.
Redbird.
Go and find us a blood wizard, and we will corroborate this discovery.
Well, we are in the capital of wherever we are. So,
God,
Can I introduce a secondary character?
You can introduce as many as you want.
So can we like say there's a blood wizard in the crowd.
You can do that, yeah. It's up to you.
Her name is Cranel.
Cranel.
Yes.
Cranial.
And she stands
Like
at
anal, but cranial.
Cranel.
Cranial.
Not Cranel.
Not everything is a sexual innuendo.
No,
Lady
but cranial
Redbush.
is an actual thing. Like a cranial injury.
Cranel.
Cranial. Okay.
A
so-
cranial, okay.
Yeah. So Cranel stands from the crowd. It's like, and she says, "Are you a majesty? No, my lady. I represent the Guild of Blood Mages.
Ah!
Allow me to perform a simple prestidigitation." Did I pronounce that right?
You did?
Yes.
You may proceed, lady.
Is that okay with you?
It's fine with me. You better ask my friend, Sirocco.
Sirocco, is that fine with you? Okay, cool. Blood mage, cranial.
So Cranel, who is about 70 and like strong looking, but like obviously she's a little old. She's been
Old
an
people lying around here.
she's been an academic for a while. Hey, she's got tenure.
She's got tenure. You do last
It's
forever.
important.
Exactly. So she sort of like wends her way down and like goes into like the center and it's like, ooh, sort of like, what are those like little glasses called with the
Pinsners.
Pinsners. She like puts those down. She like inspects him. It's like hand, and then Sirocco's like, and then she gets like Felix hand, and she's like, and then she places her hands over both of those, and a tiny droplet just sort of raises and hovers in the air between. And this is like this is a spell, which is usually used to like paternity test and that kind of thing, to see if the blood is alike. And she's like, ooh, there's a lot of difference. There's a lot of, but it's yes, they are fundamentally the same. There's different. They seem like different shades of the same color.
You see, our Orcus friends should be our friends.
Need goes.
Shut up, Sneed.
A horse and an ass are different shades of the same color. That does not make them equal, Your Majesty. Surely you need only your eyes to see that this hulking, brutish creature is a far cry from the standard human.
Oh well, come now, Sneed. You. This is Cranel still. Like you are about as far from an elf as can be, and we afford elves rights in this conglomerate of races.
Yeah, I as a
Sneed.
diplomat can speak that elves and human gnomes and all elves were just very much not liked by a lot of groups.
Excuse me.
At
Sneed.
a certain point of time. But now you've been properly integrated in society and accepted as an equal.
Need I remind you that my grandfather was present at the Treaty of Humanity.
Oh, is Sneed an elf?
Sneed is an elf.
Oh, okay. I thought Sneed was a human, and I was saying that like, oh, you're about as far from an elf as can be, but we're allowing you to be here.
Okay, fine. Sneed's a human.
Okay.
Or we can push. Is Sneed a human or an elf?
I would say no.
I like that he's an elf
Yeah, you should be an elf.
because I like the idea of elves being snooty.
Sneedy.
Sneed
Sneedy.
says,
Sneedy snoot.
be that as it may, what runs through these creatures' bloods is similar to our blood. The fact still remains that Sirocco is an orc and shall always be an orc.
And we are not arguing
Felix
against
is a
that.
human.
Are we not?
Well, that is the question.
Do you have proof of our human heritage?
They are
and-
reverting
and
back
of
to
our-
humans?
Not
I would.
that you're morphing back into humans.
Yeah. I can add to this. Better add to this.
Such a
Our orcish neighbors are changing and becoming more human. I put it to you, crown that. Orcs arose from humans and are returning to humans.
So Sirocco at this point will hold up his hand and say, "It is true. The histories of our clans have told of our fathers who were 10 feet tall and our fathers' fathers who were 11 feet tall and barely had knowledge of speech. And now as we become smaller and weaker, we diminish, but we grow more intelligent and verbose."
But you're
At-
still pretty strong though, right?
At this point,
Flex for you.
at this point, Cronin, what was the lady's name? Cranon.
Cranor.
Cranor. At this point, Cranor raises a hand. If I may,
Am I
Your
not
Majesty.
Cranor?
Secondary characters can be played by anyone.
Oh,
But if you
sneaky.
disagree with me, you can push against it, right? So we can. Cranor raises a hand and says, "Your Majesty, my lord, there is one surefire way to test Phoenix's theory." And as she says this, she turns to look at you, Rocco. "But I'm afraid it does require the fluid of the spine. A process that would be fatal to this orc, but would concretely prove or disprove Phoenix's theory."
Felix.
Felix's theory.
Is it
I feel like
Felix?
Felix.
Okay,
Felix's
cool.
theory.
Because he
Give
keeps
Felix
saying Phoenix, I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm gonna give
Sorry.
Felix a moment to react to this.
Oh shit.
It's like, do I want proof?
How do
Do
you-
I need to like have my
Sirocco
friend
is my
alive?
friend, and I cannot ask him to sacrifice his life. However, we did not travel alone. We came as a group, and one of our party is old and gravely ill and may consent.
Any living orc will suffice. And there is another component, I'm afraid, and she turns to you. It would also require a human sacrifice.
Oh, we got
Full
lots of those
comparison.
people. Go find a poor person to kill.
So Sirocco is going to like raise
I
his
really
hand
wanna
and
metagame now.
clap it on your shoulder to be like, "Felix, I cannot ask my people to perform this duty. This must be done, and I believe that it must. This is the reason we came all of this way. I must be the one to lead my people into the future."
And Felix?
Still thinks that a poor person.
So King
You're what friend you are.
Earl Grey says, "God, fetch someone from the dungeons."
Good.
Has
Oh,
he
yeah,
been
they're
tried? Has he been tried and found guilty?
Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answers to.
Well, we don't have journalism yet, so no one will know.
So when Sirocco like asks this, how does Lady Red?
So you ask,
Lady Redbush.
has he been tried?
It was like, has this prisoner committed a crime?
Well, if he's in the dungeons, it's usually meant that he has been tried.
Okay,
Yeah.
but so what is your reaction to this? Are you like sort
Chill.
of flippant about it? It's like, oh no, he's just a prisoner, or like, oh no, he's a prisoner. It's fine. He was going to be sentenced.
Like, I'm trying to like think in my head, fuck, what kind of ramifications will this bring?
The guards bring in a
Like, I'm not happy. I don't want to just kill
A
off
young-
anyone who's
no.
not
a
willing.
youngish, maybe mid-20s female. Pretty, but not very beautiful. Pretty blonde hair.
Female? What? No, me
Um,
too.
She's wearing, her clothes are obviously a bit disheveled and dirty. She's in manacles. Her mouth is gagged, so she can't speak. She's looking sort of petrified and unsure. As she comes in, she looks confusedly at you and at you, like not sure what the fuck's going on. Once she sees Earl Grey, she gets a look of like intense anger on her face.
I remember
And
this one.
you can't hear what she's saying, but she's like screaming at him or shouting at him. The guards push her down onto her knees
hang on,
in
before
front
we-
of the cranium.
Before we go, are you planning on like going through with the thing? just
Well,
now?
you can choose. You can push. You can have your characters do other things.
I would like to just sort of like, before this goes on, it's like, before we proceed with this, I have two questions, two requests. The first is to know the crime that this woman has been convicted of.
This woman is a traitor to our earldom?
Yeah.
What would you call it?
Duchy?
A traitor to our duchy. She incited a minor rebellion in one of the villages that refused to pay
It's
its
territory of the Duke.
due taxes. That resulted in the death of 2 of my guards and several villagers.
And the second request is, please allow for the elder of my village, for one of the this elders of my village. But when he says elder, what you hear is elder, but what he means is like storyteller, historian type thing. So the context is lost on you, but that's what he says. And allow me to say one last thing to my people. And the third thing is that they be allowed safe passage home.
Under the terms of the Treaty of Humanity, all races are granted protection during the 8 days. There shall be no violence. They shall be granted my protection, inasmuch as I am able to give it. You have my word on this.
Okay.
Where is this elder of yours?
The party is directly.
They're chilling outside.
They're just directly. They're in the foyer.
He stamps his mace once. The guards bring in. I don't know who they bring in. If anyone wants.
My immediate family, basically, and my grandfather, who is the historian, sort of storyteller, elder.
10-foot tall grandfather.
Yeah, he's taller than
A
me.
small female orc, about this high, runs up and hugs your leg.
no.
Oh, Mario Obama.
Margot Obama.
So in Orcish, before this goes on, Sirocco is going to say to his family, it's like, look, I have to do this. There's nothing I can, this is important. This is going to secure the future for our children, but, and with this he looks at his grandfather, who is you for the time being. I'm using you as a stand-in. It's like, you're hunched, so you're the same height as me. But if you're able to stand up, you're as taller. Remember what has happened this day. The best of our people has come and offered themselves, and they have only offered the worst of them. They will repeat this pattern over and over again. Make sure we remember, and make sure we never trust them.
We will remember.
He says this in Orcish.
Yes.
Okay. Does
Souvenez-vous.
so Phoenix can hear this?
Felix.
Felix can hear this.
Felix can hear this.
Okay, cool.
And, yes.
And
So Cranus.
then Sirocco just kisses his daughter, and then it's like, I assume that's his daughter and his bride or something.
Cute secondary character.
Wait, what? So what just happened?
Cranus then now is what's her name? Cranor.
Cranor is the blood maid.
Cranor instructs Sirocco, please, to kneel next to this prisoner. And while he was saying that, she was preparing these 2 sort of long, they look a bit like daggers, but they have like a straw going down the middle.
Oh, fuck.
She leans
Came prepared
She
to
leans.
this meeting.
She has sent off people. She's prepared a whole lot of equipment there now. She's got it. She leans your head forward. The guards grab this woman by the ponytail and pull her head down to reveal the back of her neck.
Mm-hmm.
She takes out these 2.
And again, what a friend.
Listen, mate.
So by performing this ritual, I shall release the ethers of both of these creatures. If they meld, then we know they are of the same species. If they do not gel and they remain separate, immiscible, is that the right word?
Immiscible, yeah.
Immiscible.
Like oil and water.
Yeah. Then we shall know Felix's theory to be false.
And if they bond sort of, but not quite a lot.
The test is certain, my dear.
Okay.
There are no half measures.
Like sugar in cold water. No, just keep stirring it. Just keep stirring it.
But it does work though. Bless you.
Thank you.
May you both make peace with your gods. And she plunges the daggers both into both of the necks of Sirocco and this woman.
And I'm just like, yeah.
And after a while, you see like blood come up out of the holes and like spurt a little bit.
Thank goodness we
Goes
don't have
down.
photographers in this era.
They both collapse.
Cell phones.
Or cell phones. Fuck.
After about a minute of silence, these two wispy, like gooey things come up, and they're sort of both the same color, and they meld into one.
Should we call it there?
Proof.
Well, we don't know the answer. What is the answer? How
How does the world react? to
Oh, how does the world
I mean, this has all been completely fucking irrelevant.
Well, so now we know. So now we
Crowd
know
goes crazy.
that. So now we have proof.
We've got proof.
Okay, so now I turn to Felix and I'm go, okay, cool. We know this is now true and basically fact. How do you plan, how should we plan, how are we going to approach getting this information to the masses? Because not everyone's going to be very happy about this.
You should announce it at the festival. We are at the Festival of Humanity. Our Orcish friends are, as proven now, part of that.
Sure.
And he turns to the Earl and says, Earl, you must do your duty.
And I'm just gonna ask a question. I don't know to who this must be directed, but orcs being proved that they are reverting back into humans, does that mean that they get included into the Treaty of Humanity?
Well, that's
That's
how
the-
does the world react?
An
Yeah.
excellent suggestion, my dear.
So we can announce at the festival that the orcs are now going to be included into the Treaty of Humanity.
Phoenix, is there a Felix, my good friend? Is there?
Good
It's
friend
okay,
whose name
he's
I don't
is
know.
there-
senile.
Did you
I've
bring a
always
leader
thought
of
that,
the
like,
orcs?
the
Or is there
mispronouncing names was just
do the orcs have a
intentional.
centralized leader?
This one on the floor, in death,
Oh dear.
was their leader.
And
So you killed the...
and they perhaps have an heir.
We shall have to find out.
They
Is
shall
it
have
carbon monoxide?
very well. Your Sirocco's family shall have pride of place next to me for the remaining days of the festival. And let it be known that the orcs have been wholeheartedly welcomed into the Treaty of Humanity.
Yes.
And they're busy, like, orc weeping.
I just imagine we have
Ugly crying.
this horn that's like signaled on like special events and stuff, but instead of like normal horn sounds, it goes yeah.
Guys, is this an empire built on blood magic? I
Yes.
Sure. I mean,
Well, it's a light.
Okay,
period.
so how does this? So now how do we end this?
but good blood magic, you know,
It's
it's
like blood magic. We proved something good.
ARV magic, you know, like it's.
Yeah. If only the blood mage had been a little bit better at her job, the person they wouldn't have died.
So we need to decide on the term.
It's good.
Mixed
Overall,
leaning towards
mixed.
good.
Yeah, I think it's good. Bad for poor Sirocco,
If
but
the scene
Yeah.
doesn't seem particularly light or dark, judge the scene to be the opposite of the tone of the surrounding event. But if we're saying it's good, it's good.
Yeah, it's good.
I think it is
Okay.
good.
But
It's
the
good
orcs,
for orcish.
the orcs will.
Right. So Thomas,
Sorry.
you need to make a circle under the scene to show that it's good, and then you need to write the answer at the bottom of the scene card.
Cautious acceptance. Yes.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, I'd say orcs are accepted into the Treaty of Humanity
Yeah.
after Sirocco sacrifices his life.
Mm.
I mean, one of them
And Felix
Does not.
He does not.
but sacrifices
But the academician.
a. What would you
Is it
call
really
A
academician?
rebel prisoner
Yeah.
after the
I'm
sacrifice of
gonna
Sirocco
Google
and a rebel
academician
prisoner.
now. Wait.
We're waiting.
Define academician. No, this is define academic.
An academician is a member.
Define academician.
Here's the definition of academic.
No, you're not pairing me.
So an academic is, correct me if I'm wrong on this. An academic is anyone who is in who is in like the field of academics. But an academician is a member of an academy.
Exactly right.
I'm gonna Google it anyway.
So, for example,
But that does make sense.
the Royal Academy of Science, or
I only know this because I googled it while y'all were talking.
Oh, the mission.
Okay, so then the final thing is, Robbie, you now have to choose a legacy. The
okay.
player to the right of the lens looks back over what happened during this focus
Mhm.
and picks something to be a legacy. It has to be something that appeared in play this round, either for the first time or appearing it in the game. You are not making something new, just singling out something already in the history.
What do you mean by legacy?
Choose something you are interested in and want to explore more. It has to be something specific from the history, not a broad
Okay.
concept idea. So, for example, betrayal is not a valid legacy, but the betrayal of the seed tribes works because it is something. So, you write
So
the
it's so
legacy
specific, yeah.
on a card, and then you get to make an event or a dictated scene about that legacy.
Wait, what? Oh, we
So
moved.
you can choose. You can
Okay.
choose a legacy from what's been played in Thomas's round.
Yeah.
So you can choose that,
From here.
or the scene.
Hmm.
Probably not the scene, but you don't choose this event. You choose like something
Something that's
around.
going to happen.
So
as
you
a
could
result.
have like Smeed as your legacy, or you could have the corrupting wave, or you could have the village of Aurora.
And what happens with the legacy? What's going to happen?
So
with it?
you choose a legacy,
Yeah.
and then you have to create an event
Uh-huh.
or a dictated scene around the legacy, and you hold on to that legacy.
Okay.
Next game, Phil is going to be the focus. Thomas is going to get to choose a legacy, but then he gets to choose to make an event or a scene from all the legacies that are in play. So he could come back to the legacy you've chosen and make an
Okay.
event or a scene, or he could choose the legacy.
So do I announce the legacy and tell
Yeah,
everybody?
so you choose the legacy and then you write it down on a piece of paper,
Okay.
just for you. So
The legacy of Bumblefuck.
No. No, that's not going to be the legacy.
Legacy of Bumblefuck.
The bastard child of Olga.
So essentially, a legacy is like, what are you interested in?
Yeah.
If you'd like to maybe add to the history or explore more at some later date.
I think my legacy is going to be the integration of orca society into human society. Is that the kind of thing a legacy is?
I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if
What
it has
is a
to.
legacy,
I'm not sure if it has
Aaron?
to have been played during the thing. Folks, pick something to. It has to be something that appeared in play this round, either for the first time. So because we didn't have any events or periods or scenes around the integration,
We can't do
choose
that. Okay. Alright, so then maybe my legacy will be about my broken moon.
Yes.
Because we've not really looked at that.
If that happened, did that happen in this round?
No.
Yes, because you said that this was
Yes,
the focus.
it's
Oh,
part
yes.
of the
Yeah, so
the
your
wave
le-
of magic.
Yeah, so your legacy can be Xylus the Broken Moon.
Yeah, okay, yes, my legacy is Xylus the Broken Moon. Yes, okay, that's fine.
Oh,
Now you have
silence.
to make
We
an
hardly
event
knew you.
or a scene around Xylus the Broken Moon. Event
We
or
can have a
dictated
legacy of
scene.
you now.
Yeah, the tides probably got all fucked up. When the moon
Yes,
died.
yeah, the tides sort of gone crazy. I think I'm gonna make an event.
And a desert city, what used to be a desert city is now an oceanfront city.
Atlantis.
Salt Lick.
Salt Lake. That's how Salt Lake came to be. Because the salty
blue
water
one.
licked
Yes.
the edge.
Phrasing.
Phrasing.
Phrasing,
Yeah,
boom.
okay.
What about like?
The
Could you make a building out of salt?
You could.
Like
Salt, compressed
Would it be
salt.
very good the first time it rained, though?
yeah, but if it was in like a desert,
No,
and
I
you
would
had,
think
like,
it would be
abundance of salt,
like
you could make it-
like
But the salt mines
emulsion
in-
of things.
The salt mines in Central Europe have like columns of salt that they use to hold up the roof and stuff.
Do they?
All right. So what event are you making around?
I'm gonna have the seas recede because of the broken moon, and something is revealed. Something interesting is revealed. What interesting thing is revealed?
There's a nice shell.
Beautiful shell. Yeah. Quite a big shell.
We're very bad at this game.
No, I think we did really well for our first time. And Thomas, I'm sorry you had to bear the burden of that.
Yeah, you were the guinea pig.
It's fine. Don't worry. We're gonna have a fight when we get back home.
No, I want to be there. Eat popcorn.
No, you don't.
I'm one of those ones.
Oh my god, there's so much salt stuff.
Yeah.
There's a salt mosque.
Ooh.
There's all sorts of shit under the ground.
Maybe it's
So
like
now
Himalayan
Salt Lake
right?
has a salt
What
mosque.
is- like,
That's not salt.
That's salt.
It's not pure salt.
It's like salt.
No salt and rocks and debris.
Is it NaCl though?
It will mostly be NaCl, yeah.
Mostly.
Some magnesium, some calcium.
For them strong bones.
Yeah. And I think when the seas recede, an area of what was clearly a formerly populated city will be revealed. And people will go and explore it. Revealing
The ruins of something.
yeah.
Ruins of my ass.
Otherwise known as your ass.
It's going to be nameless. It's going to be nameless now.
The
because we know what it
nameless
is.
ass.
No, but we do know what it is because this is history. History's all happened,
yeah.
so we know what it
We
is.
know what
Just
it is.
call it. It's called the nameless ruin.
Oh hell, the nameless city.
Oh hell, the nameless city.
Yes.
Or just nameless city.
No, it's the nameless city.
Okay, the nameless city.
It's the nameless city because it was lost.
Okay.
And there's no writing preserved, so it's the nameless city. That's what its name is.
And Academicians
Okay, so
decided to call it.
so
the
I would
nameless
put
city.
that. Okay, so I would actually make that a scene.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's
yeah,
under the event
yeah.
of Xylus the Broken Moon.
Okay.
So you just wait
Okay.
on the back of the envelope.
Then I write it here. Oh, but now I have to
So your,
dictate
que-
it.
your-
hey?
yeah, so your question is like, how did the broken moon affect the oceans? Or like, what did
Yeah.
what did the catastrophe of the broken moon reveal hidden under the oceans?
A deep desire.
And now I have to do a little spiel.
You do have to do a little spiel.
Yes,
Can we
we're
have,
gonna-
like,
God.
We're gonna do a
You
little
don't have to act it out, right?
Yeah.
You can just
Okay.
say like
Someone
Okay.
is the ocean.
All right, let me get into the frame. Yeah, you can be a wave.
it's similar to period
Yeah.
of events, only like
Yeah.
your level of
Okay, zoom is close.
is like
Yeah.
you see the
As the moon is shattered in the sky, half falls away, and as a result of that, the shift of that weight changes where the ocean is, and what once was shallow sea is now revealed as the broken ruins of a nameless city.
cool.
The nameless city.
The nameless city. Okay.
Cool.
Ooh, them aliens.
And then what is okay? So you have that question.
The question is, okay.
This is going to be difficult. What is the tone of this scene?
It's good because the people who see that are like, fucking awesome. Let's go and see if there's anything to.
Okay.
Okay, so the characters we're playing, I'm assuming, is just people witnessing the ocean receding.
Well, it's dictated, so we don't.
Yeah, you don't have to do
yeah,
anything.
there's no character.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
dictated.
Who
okay.
are these people who witness it? Though?
So there's a fishing village that's near there, and oh god, James, the
Do they have to be
James.
the fisher
No.
boy,
It's a question
is
that
the
you
first.
ask.
The James of the fisher boy is the first to
It just has to be
Venture.
like a light or a dark turn.
Venture out.
Right?
Okay.
So it could be like revealing the nameless city full of wonderful treasures.
Yeah, full of
or
interesting. Yeah,
Oh,
interesting.
revealing the nameless city, which is full of like
Release-
eldritch abominations.
Releasing an unspeakable evil. Right?
No, there's no unspeakable evil. It's
Or
like a happy time.
The ruins,
Okay.
the ruins being revealed, releasing the curse that is
No,
plaguing
no,
the
no, no. Okay, cool. So
Okay.
like, no collaborating.
guys, there's no GM here, but I'm the boss.
Even when there's no GM, there's
I'm
still
the
a GM. God, you would have hated the Bryza though. There were like 6 Brymasters. You would have been.
Of course, your staff is mostly Afrikaans. Of course, everyone's a Brewmaster. Okay,
Okay.
so you can take your scene and you can put it in your envelope. Oh, Thomas, you can put your scene in your envelope also.
Okay, I'll just put it under.
Fold
What?
me up,
What
send
happens
me up.
when it goes into the envelope?
Well, now we just know that that scene is in that event. And it makes it easier for me to keep track of.
Of what the hell's going on?
Uh-huh.
But honestly, in some future sessions that we have of this, I'm going to make a character that is going to hide in a cupboard.
You do
And-
it.
So, Phil, it's your turn next.
Yay!
So you can...
You can cover it up if you,
You
want.
can think about like what you want your focus to be.
Okay.
Right? What is that noise? Is
My
that-
fonts.
Okay. So you can choose what you want your focus to be, and then we can go from there.
So can I, like in our next thing, create an event and then say the focus is that event?
Yeah, you create the focus, even if the focus doesn't exist at the moment.
Okay.
Right? So you can say, my focus is going to be the rule of King Phil the Magnificent.
A good start.
Yeah.
And then you started off by creating either a period and an event, or an event and a scene,
okay.
or just one of those.
Okay, I know already exactly what I want to do next time.
Gonna involve a cupboard.
Yes.
That's the sense.
Have you like recently reread The Golden Compass or something?
The
Actually
line of witch in the
haven't.
wardrobe.
Okay, no.
No, instead of a bag
Actually,
of holding, it's a cupboard of holding.
The lying bitch in the wardrobe.
And it's me.
The lying bitch or the lying bitch?
I heard
The
lying.
lying bitch.
The lying bitch
Lying
on the
bitch and the
No,
wall.
actually,
lying bitch
no,
out of
no.
wardrobe.
What I have in store is actually not. No, I'm not gonna say it's not revolving around a cupboard,
Okay.
but I'm going to mention that at some point during the next session.
Okay.
Or
I
the
like-
session following that.
I look forward to cupboard times.
Yes. And then Damien has some backstory to give to my character time,
Cool.
But we can do that.
or like family history to give.
Do we want to maybe like number these, the events, that the periods that the things are going to go
Because
into?
you can slip periods in between.
So
Oh,
what?
like
that
these
doesn't
events.
change.
No, some
No, these events we can just like put like
stacked,
this,
and then in the envelope.
and then in the envelope.
Yeah, but then I mean, I guess
then
it
one,
doesn't
two,
really.
three, four,
We'll
yeah.
be able to remember. What
Yeah,
the-
we'll be able to remember.
Hopefully.
I mean, I'm
Let's
pretty
just
old.
say the top is first.
First, and then descending.
So like if you go like this,
Yeah. That's sensible.
and then you just take this and then like.
So, next time we play, it should go a little bit quicker.
Yes,
It's interesting.
it is interesting.
And hopefully, there'll be less frustrations.
The more you mention frustration, the more frustrated people get.
No, that's not true.
That is so very true.
Kindly keep your domestics.
I'm just keeping each and every character.
No, you can take another piece because it's technically your birthday cake. So.
You know when Billy's going to be coming back? Is it just whenever his
Honestly, I have no idea.
Show man. Shall we turn this?
Yes, we can probably stop recording.